Thank you, girls.
The academy that will be officially launched today has been over 6 months in the making at a cost of about $100,000 to the school.
Generation of scholars and their communities and local industries. The aim to transform...
It gives me much pleasure to be here this morning for a number of reasons. As has been highlighted by the High Commissioner and also the Principal, that this IT Academy is very an important step and indeed sends a very strong signal to the rest of Fiji and also to the rest of the world and indeed the region that Fiji is very much positioned, or it's trying to position itself to become the IT hub of Fiji. But probably more fundamental than that is that as a government we want to invest in all of you. This IT Academy is an investment in the future, and you represent the future, because it is the young people of today who will become the leaders of tomorrow. It will be the young people of today who will be holding various positions. You'll become teachers, you'll become doctors, you'll become engineers, you'll become marine scientists, foresters, engineers, electrical engineers, civil engineers, numerous other positions. Hopefully not many will become lawyers. But the point is that in all of this training, it is critical that you're able to receive a lot of information in a very concerted manner, or in a very condensed manner, in the most proficient manner. And this is what this IT Academy is all about. It also says to the rest of the world, and with the Academy is talking to Ganesh, that you'll have teachers who can get accredited through this Microsoft IT Academy. And of course, hopefully later on the students. Now this IT skill sets, Microsoft IT skill sets, is recognized internationally also. So it makes the teachers a lot more marketable. We are able to then say to the rest of the world that Fiji has the similar skill sets that exist in other countries also. So it is very important for us to understand that. This very much goes on the back of what we've been doing, as was highlighted in the introduction earlier on, that government has now set up nearly 22 telecenters throughout Fiji. What this essentially means is that we are going around identifying schools in particular and giving them computers, giving them webcams, giving them scanners, and giving them IT connection, and saying to them that your students can use this during school hours. We want them to go and access the knowledge. We want them to go and see what exists outside their classrooms, and to be able to tap into that knowledge and use that for themselves. And then after hours, we ask these schools to ensure that the people who live around that community, the farmers, the villagers, whoever they may be, can come and access those computers after hours. And as you know, some of you may have people like that in your family. Your parents or grandparents may have never used the computer before. But we want them to use it. And I know in some places they've gone and used it because they know from Skype they can make a free phone call. So that way we get them introduced to the computer. That way they get less scared of the computer. So in fact, in a couple of the schools where we set up these IT centers, the schools have said, well, if you want us to allow people to come after school hours, pay for the security guard, otherwise somebody might choro the computer. So we're actually paying for the security guard. In the same way, this IT Academy, we are paying for the internet connection. So when you go and access the internet or cyberspace, government is paying for that. The computers that have been purchased, the Ministry of Education has channeled those funds through the funds that have been allocated to them from the 2015 budget. So it is a responsibility on all of us, in particular those of you who are going to use these computers. Please use it to the maximum benefit. It would please us if you use it, would satisfy us if you use these computers to enhance your knowledge. You know, the other day we were in Parliament and an issue arose, and I stood up in Parliament and I said, well, this is an experience that we can learn from. And the people in the opposition started, laughing and yelling and screaming and said, oh, he's finally admitted that he does not know everything. Yes, none of us, nobody in Fiji knows everything. But you must be brave enough, you must have the wisdom to be able to say, yes, I don't know everything and I want to learn. We all learn. Just because somebody is the Attorney General, just because somebody is the head teacher, just because somebody runs the IT academy, doesn't mean they know everything. Every day is a learning experience. And once we know that and we become humble enough to say, yes, we don't know everything and we need to learn, that's the day we'll become even a better country. You don't have to feel mandua about saying, I don't know. It's better to say, I don't know and ask, or go and research and find out, than to keep quiet and people assume you know. And then the moment you open your mouth, they say, oh, this guy's a fool. So please remember that. It's very, very critically important. I would like to thank Mr. Ganesh Sen. Some of you may not know him, but I call him a former Fijian, but he's told me that he still retained his Fijian passport. But he's a Fijian, an ex-old boy, who has been living in Australia for a number of years. And he has, through his foundation, which is set up with his wife and some other friends in Australia, they are doing many wonderful things in Fiji. He's an engineer by training. He's gone off overseas, he's worked overseas, and he's now contributing to the country of his birth. Many of you could be in that position similarly. And we urge you, please, always be loyal and patriotic to your country. Because this is the country of your birth. If we all are loyal and patriotic to Fiji, Fiji will become an even greater place. I know, I always used to not like Natabua High School because I went to Marist. And you guys were the rivals, in quiz and debates and all of that. But it gives me a great, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here, and I'd like to thank the organizers for this invitation. But you are also very privileged, more privileged than Marist, to have this academy set up here. It's the first academy that's been set up in Fiji. Please make use of it. I'd like to publicly thank Ganesh Sen and his foundation for the wonderful ideas that they have. I'd like to thank the Minister for Education, who met him a few months ago and took up the idea and was willing to fund this academy. I'd like to thank RMIT also. Of course, the Australian government funds RMIT, and I'd like to thank them also indirectly. They're assisting. RMIT is obviously a well-renowned tertiary institution in Fiji, in Australia, and we'd like to thank them for their collaboration. And we need to continuously collaborate with people around us to be able to make ourselves a lot better. So, Mr. Principal, thank you very much for hosting us. I'd like to wish you and your staff and everybody who will be accessing this and all the students for your wonderful agreement. But also we look forward to coming back, as the High Commissioner said, and to see that, how you progressed. It's a wonderful tool. Please do not abuse it. We don't want to be in the top 10 pornographic country sites in the world, as you saw. I think it's been blocked, right? It's been blocked. You can't access that. But please, remember that, it's there, it's a good tool. I was saying to somebody the other day that we have a very sad situation in Fiji at the moment where the access to internet has increased quite significantly. As was highlighted in the introduction, today now we have one of the most cheapest forms of telecommunications in Fiji on mobile phones. Many of you may not realize it, the young people now, you take it for granted. Only in 2005, or even in 2000, a text message used to cost like 50 cents. The cost per unit on a Vodafone call, peak period, was 99 cents a unit. You now have 5-up, 7-up, text messages for free between different hours, 2 cents, 3 cents, 5-cent calls, $10 all you can speak. None of that existed in Fiji prior to 2007. All of that has happened since 2007. Of course, you remember that when you have access to this technology, please do not abuse it. We have now Facebook, we have blogging, etc., being used for very unproductive uses. Defaming people, writing, working on rumors, fear-mongering. That's not what social media is for. Social media is, as it says, is for you to interact socially, and of course you're able to interact socially on the basis of sharing information, accurate information, useful information, getting to know how things are happening. Today we have a fisherman up in Yasawa. He can now telephone and find out what's the best price of fish, whether he'll get it in Lautoka or will get it in Nandi. Before he had to come all the way to Lautoka to find out that the price of fish is not good here, but it's good in Nandi. Now he can find out beforehand. In the same way, that's how you need to do social media. The same way you need to use blogging. Fiji is a developing country. We all need to work together to ensure that we are able to open more academies. The Minister for Education will, by the end of next year, open 10 technical institutes. I'll just speak for a couple more minutes. You know, in Fiji at the moment, because of all the construction that's going on, we have a shortage of construction workers. We have construction companies telling us that they want to import laborers from Indonesia and Philippines because there's not enough people who know how to do tiling, not enough people who know how to lay bricks, do plastering, because there's a shortage, there's a construction boom. So these technical colleges that the Minister for Education is setting up will be able to offer courses for that. In the same way, very soon we might have shortage in other areas. So all of you need to learn. You need to also realize what is the best area that you are focused on. And this is where the teachers are very, very critical. A teacher may realize that a person is not necessarily cut out to be a nurse or a doctor, but they may be a very good engineer, or maybe a very good bricklayer, a very good tile layer. There is no shame in being a tile layer. In fact, some tile layers are making a lot more money than lawyers. So the reality is that you must pursue a career that you want to pursue, that you are good at, that your heart is in it. That is very, very important. Don't do something for the sake of it. And this is where you collaborate with the teachers, you collaborate with the parents, you collaborate with the various education facilities that's available for you to have the best career path for you that is satisfying for you and is able to contribute to the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Minister, Head Teacher, Ganesh, thank you very much for this invitation, and I wish you all a very good morning. Vinaka, thank you.